I just turned the statue in the study, and the next second a secret room appeared in front of me. I got curious and wanted to see what was inside, but I found only items related to women. At first they all seemed normal, but then I saw a girl standing still nearby. I was scared right away, but after calming down, she looked very familiar. I suddenly remembered seeing her photo on my wedding anniversary. A few days ago on our wedding anniversary, I prepared a huge contract as a gift for my husband, but when I was about to sign it, red ink was suddenly splashed over. Then a huge memorial photo appeared beside me. She said my husband killed her college-age daughter to marry into my family. I questioned my husband at once, but he swore it was all lies. Still, I fainted from the shock. When I woke up again, I remembered a strange message from a few days ago. It said twist the victory statue in the study for a surprise. So I went to the study and turned the statue. And I found a hidden room in the study. The life-size girl doll inside was the same college girl from the memorial photo. Just then, my husband walked in. I quickly hid behind the doll, and I heard his dark plan. I finally knew he got close to me to take my property. I realized I was in great danger, but I did not know what to do next. At that moment, I got another strange message. It asked if I needed help. Then the next day, a girl in a trench coat and cap came to me. She asked if I needed help. I remembered the message from yesterday, and knew she was the one who texted me. She told me she was the private detective I hired before my car crash, because a year ago I had a car accident, and I lost all my memories after that, and they never came back. The detective said I found proof of my husband cheating before the crash, and I hired her to find more clues, so I could make him leave with nothing. After more investigation, she found he was not just cheating. He was a professional romance scammer. He used many fake names, and every girl who dated him had accidents or went missing. A year ago, when she was about to tell me the truth, she could not reach me, and then she only heard about my car crash, and my husband was likely a killer. After hearing this, I realized the items in the secret room belonged to the victims. The detective suggested that I give all my property to my husband to stay alive, but I could not accept giving everything to a twisted criminal. I decided to find proof and send him to justice. So that night after my husband went out, I contacted the detective right away and asked her to keep him away from home while I went back into the secret room again. But this time I was shocked to find a body that looked exactly like me in the freezer. Before I could understand what was happening, someone knocked me out from behind while I was half conscious. A strange memory flashed in my mind. In it, my husband confessed to a college girl in deep pain. He said he killed his wife by mistake, and he did it so he could be with the college girl. Just as he was about to turn himself in, the girl suddenly stopped him and said she would change her face to become his wife. When I came back to my senses, I started to doubt who I really was. After I was reborn, the very first thing I did was to admit to stealing and ask the police to arrest me. The officers thought I was crazy. After all, if theft was confirmed, I would be detained for 15 days and the stain would remain on my record. But I insisted. I stole those things because I knew this was the only way to stay alive. In my previous life, I met a girl on the first day of school who looked exactly like me, and we quickly became best friends. But one day she asked to borrow my ID to open a membership at the mall. I didn't doubt her at all and handed it over. That moment was the beginning of my nightmare. After that day, rumors about me spread all over campus forums, saying I slept with many men. Students whispered behind my back, a strange man came to the dorm claiming we were online lovers, that I cheated him out of money, betrayed him, and disappeared. I had never seen him before. I begged the counselor for help, but she suddenly pulled out 2 marriage certificates. My name, my ID number, everything matched. The man insisted I was, his wife. I denied everything, but he flew into a rage and stabbed me to death on the spot. Right before I died, I saw my best friend smiling in triumph. Only then did I realize she set me up. Then I opened my eyes again. I had returned to the day she asked for my ID to stop the nightmare from repeating. I lied and said I lost it, but she didn't give up. While I stepped out for a moment, she secretly stole it from my drawer. She didn't know I was watching. From the doorway, I immediately came up with a plan to get revenge. She then used my ID to meet the online man and tricked him into buying luxury gifts. But she didn't know she would pay dearly. Next day, she returned the ID to my drawer. I knew exactly what she did, but pretended nothing was wrong. I invited her to dinner that night and brought her to the same restaurant as before because that was where my plan would unfold. I remembered from my last life on this exact night 2 thugs wrongly accused her of theft. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, 2 thugs walked by, recognized her, and claimed she stole their phone. They grabbed her and tried to drag her to the police station. I stepped forward and confessed I stole it. My friend instantly ran away, leaving me behind. She didn't know she had walked right into my trap. A police officer came to ask questions. I insisted I was the thief and demanded he arrest me. I did it because detention would keep me safe from the man who came looking for me at school. While I was locked up, my friend became even bolder. She kept asking the online man for money, demanding bags, and even yachts. He only had one request: to have a child with him. She hesitated and contacted backup boyfriend number 2 to keep buying her things instead. But the online man caught them shopping. Together, he confronted her angrily. The backup boyfriend stormed off. To save herself, she lied that he was her cousin. To prove loyalty, she offered to marry the online man, but demanded $1 million in dowry. He agreed on the spot. They immediately got married. He gave her folic acid and asked her to prepare for pregnancy. His sick father could have a grandchild. She pretended to agree, then tossed the pills into the trash and called her backup boyfriend again. She didn't know the husband had seen everything. He was furious and decided to take revenge on her. The first thing I did after being reborn was to deliberately give up answering during the competition, because I knew no matter how well I performed, my scheming adopted sister would steal my results in the end. Since that's the case, I might as well stop playing along and let her suffer the consequences. I used to be a math prodigy. In my past life, I entered a math competition with my adopted sister, but at submission time, she handed in her paper 1 second earlier, then falsely accused me of copying her answers. Faced with everyone's suspicion, I had no way to defend myself. My biased parents and brother didn't speak up for me. They scolded me for disgracing the family. My brother even pushed me down in anger, while my sister leaned in and whispered, "Thanks for your answers. I'll enjoy the glory for you." In that moment of despair and hatred, I swore that if I ever had another chance, I'd make them all regret it. I never imagined that when I opened my eyes again. I was back in the school study room, with a countdown of 3 days to the competition written on the blackboard. That's when I realized I had been reborn. Looking at my sister still mocking me beside me, my gaze turned cold. This time, I wouldn't hold back. I shoved her aside without hesitation. My mother rushed over after hearing the commotion, and immediately scolded me, once again insisting my sister was a rare genius. Remembering the favoritism from my past life, my eyes grew colder. I would no longer be her stepping stone. Then she came over pretending to be kind, and handed me a golden pen, saying it was specially blessed to help me win. The moment I took the pen, I realized it was the same one she used last life, the one with a hidden camera to steal my answers. This time I decided to use her trick against her. I accepted the pen without resistance. My strange behavior made her suspicious, but my mother told me to focus on preparing. My sister thought, as long as I entered the competition, she could copy my answers and win again. But she didn't know. I had already erased the blackboard question and replaced it with a new problem about building AI models. A few days later, my brother saw her still playing games and urged her to prepare, but she confidently claimed she had already chosen her topic. Then she began to explain the AI problem on the blackboard, writing out formulas fluently, even adding a special rare formula. I watched her calmly, because everything she wrote was exactly how I solved it in my past life. Just as she finished her final answer, I walked up to the board and wrote the exact same steps, then told everyone that I had intentionally added that obscure formula, so the matching answers made perfect sense. On the day of the competition, she mocked me in the waiting area, but I calmly replied, even if the problem is the same, no two solutions can be exactly identical. Soon the contest began. My mother and brother were cheering her on. I confidently wrote down my topic. My unique method would surely surprise everyone. But suddenly, she hit the buzzer and stepped on stage to present the exact same topic, fluently explaining, even pointing out the obscure formula. The crowd erupted in applause. The judges were full of praise. I froze, because I hadn't even used the golden pen. How did she steal my answer again? Then she walked over pretending to be surprised, grabbed my paper, and loudly accused me of copying her work. My brother instantly rebuked me. She kept pushing, telling me to show my solution if I was innocent. Facing their accusations, I calmly raised my answer sheet and told her this wasn't even my real solution. After all, given a second chance, how could I rely on just one method? I had already prepared a more advanced technique, the parametric equation method. Just as I was about to present it, she cut me off, pretending to be generous, offering to give me the method she had just explained, and said she would switch to a new one, then proudly announced the new method to the crowd. As people continued to praise her, she grew more pleased with herself. I was about to get up and open the door for my boyfriend, but suddenly my future self appeared in the mirror. She was covered in injuries. She screamed at me not to open the door. She said my boyfriend was a total jerk, and if I opened the door I would be killed. When I tried to ask why, the person in the mirror disappeared. Just then my boyfriend knocked again. I hesitated. I took out my phone and checked the door camera. To be safe, I called him on video, but he rejected the call. That made me even more scared. Then he called me with voice only. I asked why he refused my video call. He brushed it off and urged me to open the door. I immediately felt something was wrong, because in all these years together, he had never refused my video calls. So I lied and said my best friend suddenly asked me to help pick wedding photos, and I forgot to tell him. I told him to go find a hotel to wait, because a typhoon was coming soon. He questioned me suspiciously, saying if I was at my friend's place he would come right away. I was afraid my lie would be exposed, so I quickly hung up. Then I remembered he was always very suspicious, so I called my best friend. At the same time, he also called my best friend. My call showed the line was busy. Not long after my friend called me back, I quickly asked if she had just talked to my boyfriend. She sounded surprised, and said luckily she did not answer. Hearing that, I finally felt relieved. Then I told her, no matter who called her, she must say I was at her place picking wedding photos, before she could reply. I hung up, then I carefully walked to the door to check if he was still outside, but suddenly my phone rang. It was property management calling, saying the neighbor downstairs complained about water leaking from my air conditioner, and they were coming to fix it right now. I hurried to explain that I was not at home, and asked them to come another day, but it was too late. The repair worker was already at my door. When the worker said the time had changed, my boyfriend realized I was avoiding him on purpose, so he started banging on the door. I was terrified and immediately called property management again, asking them to send help. I told them I lied about not being home because I was hiding from a dangerous person outside. Then I also called the police. After hanging up, I quickly moved heavy furniture to block the door to stop my boyfriend from getting in. But when property staff arrived, they were easily fooled by him and even tried to persuade me to open the door and make peace. When I still refused to open it, they left, and that made my boyfriend relax. Then he started trying to guess the door lock code, just as he was celebrating cracking it. The police finally arrived. He thought he could trick the police like before, but the police stopped him outside. Seeing this, I felt relieved and opened the door for the police. Then I told them he had just tried to break in violently and asked them to drive him away, but he lost control when the police blocked him and tried to rush in to restrain me. Luckily, the police stopped him in time. That made me glad I did not open the door earlier. But then he threatened the police, saying he would file complaints for interfering in family matters, trying to scare them away. But the police ignored the threats and firmly protected me behind them. What shocked him even more was that I showed the door camera footage of him trying to break in. He panicked instantly. When the police saw the solid evidence and learned his family had been harassing me for a long time, they immediately drove them away, but he still refused to give up, and a huge plot began forming in his mind.